Now let's add some logic to our reactive form. This is the form that we are using by using the reactive forms approach, and here I want to set the default values while initializing this form. It is very simple to set the default values while you are initializing it. Let's say you want to set the default value for this title property, so here you can write the default value directly. Let's say it is Nitish. Just save the changes and go back to the browser. Here you will see we are having the default value in this field. If I will remove it, then it will gone. On refresh of this page, you will see that the value is again, because we are setting it in the default. So here is the author. Again, let's say I'm writing the default, and here it is. So basically whatever default value you want to set, you can do that easily over here in this forms control. Now this is the simplest one. Now let's talk about the validation part also. Let's say I want to apply one validation that will be required on this particular field. How can I do that? In the previous approach, that was the template driven, we were doing all the logic on the HTML file, and over here we have written all those things. So if I will talk about this title property, then we were using this required, min length, max length, all those logic in this HTML file. But if you are working with the reactive forms, then there is no need to make any change in the HTML file. You can handle everything from this component file. Let's see how to do that. After this default value, let's put a comma, and there is one validator over here, this one. Just press the dot and you will see a list of all the validations. Here it is. You can use email, max length, min length, pattern, required. Let's use the required. Just save the changes, go back to the browser, and over here you will see, because we have added the required validation, immediately there is an star symbol in this label. And if I will just remove this value, you will see this button is disabled and we are having a red line over here. This validation is required. Let's add this required validation for this author also, like this. Let's check the value. So we have this star. If I will remove it, then you will see that this button is disabled because we have added this add book form .invalid, and we are disabling it if it is invalid. Okay, so it is working fine so far. But let's say I do not want to set the default value, I only want to use this validation. Then how can I do that? You can simply use this blank value, or you can also pass the null over here. You will see it is working fine. There is no default value and this validation is working fine. Now what will happen if I want to add more than one validation on a particular field? Then here I have to use one array. Let's just cut it, use the array, paste it here, and use the second one. So here I'm using validator again dot min length, and in the min length I have to provide what is the minimum length. So let's say it is 10. Just save the changes, go back to the browser. Here we are having the default value. Let's update this author also. Still the button is disabled because the length is less than 10. Let's update it. Here you can see the length is greater than 10 for this title field and the button has been enabled. This is how you can add more than one validation or one validation and set the default values while initializing your form.